Episode 114 of the Interpretation Station is called to order. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode. And we've got for you today another Interpretation Station Sunday at 6 workshop recording. So this workshop, it was held 3 days ago now. I think it was held on the 6th of February. I did it specifically for interpreters working with the combination French, Spanish, and English. So we covered, the focus was mainly on the Universal Periodic Review, which takes place very regularly here in Geneva, the Human Rights Council. It's my sort of bread and butter sort of meeting. So we had some interesting countries. In January. I feature, as I say, for the French language, the opening statement from Togo. And then from Spanish, we've got one of the presentations made by by Venezuela. I think it was from the Venezuelan, one of the judges from the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of interesting legalese vocabulary to get your teeth into, really sort of tough, dry, bureaucratic jargon to try to get to grips with. It's part of the job, you know. You got to deal with these statements all the time. So it's good just to toss some ideas around, think about the best way to approach these kinds of speakers, and so hopefully you'll learn a few new tricks. Just before we move past the recording, the biggest lesson that I think I learned from the workshop is be very careful about making COVID jokes, because they always come back to bite you on the bottom. So at one point early on, I joke that there's no chance of us catching COVID through via the internet. One of the attendees was suffering from a bit of cold or something. They said, "Don't worry. Can't catch any COVID across the internet." And lo and behold, what happened yesterday? My son tested positive for COVID. So I'm actually currently what we call here in Switzerland a cas contact. So I can't go into work. I'm not in quarantine, but I can't go into work. It's actually not such a bad deal, really. Can't complain too much. I'll be able to do a few more Interpretation Station episodes. Anyway, so there you go. I hope you enjoy the show. As usual, all the links are down in the description box. Please do leave comments if there's anything, any words, any tips that you have for me, for any of us who attended, anything that we maybe overlooked in terms of approaches or vocabulary or any clarifications that you make. Please don't hesitate to put them in the comments section below. And without further ado, let's go and see what happened at Sunday's workshop. Right, you know what? I think we're going to start 3 minutes past 6. We'll get cracking. Okay, so we're going to do Togo first. So for those of you who haven't been before, everyone's been here before. Maybe there are a few newcomers. Sandra, you haven't. Okay. So you can either participate if you want to, or you can just sit and just follow along. It's entirely up to you. We'll be going through the text. I suggest those of you who want to participate, put your hands up now, and then I'll just go round you, and then once you've had your go, take your hand down, and then you can come back later. So those who want to participate, just put your hands up now. Okay, let me just give you the background then for these texts. So these were both from meetings that I've done in the last 2 weeks. Because at the moment at the UN in Geneva, they've just had a whole round of Universal Periodic Reviews, okay, UPRs as they're called. If you look on the screen, you can see obviously in French that's called l'examen périodique universel, okay, l'EPU, and they had some nasty ones actually. So my first proper day back at work after the Christmas holidays, they had Syria. That was a bit prickly, that. And then they had Syria, and then the day after that there was Venezuela. Togo was relatively sort of
uninteresting by comparison, relatively stress-free, but that's some tough ones. Sudan, they had Sudan as well. I think it's like 3 weeks. I think there's maybe this week as well. There's going to be a few more. And I don't know if any of you are sort of familiar with the UPR. So, the countries come round, they send a big delegation, senior ministers usually, who'll do a presentation to start off with like 10-15 minutes. That's what we have here with Togo. This is I think the Togolese opening statement. And once they've made their initial presentation, it's all about what the country has done to comply with the various human rights treaties that they are a party to. So that covers everything: Convention Against Torture, Convention Against Elimination of Racial Discrimination. You've got the covenants, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Covenant on Economic, Social, Cultural Rights, Covenant on to eliminate discrimination against women, and they report on everything they have done. And then what will happen is that countries will come and make remarks, will comment, will give recommendations, okay? And for someone like, some of these countries, you get that over like 100, 150. For Syria, it was like 100. The speakers list was about 150, 160 countries, all speaking for maybe like 1 minute. So it's like really fast. It's really intense. It's really stressful actually when you're working. So you can go and find, I'm going to leave the links to the audio. You can listen to basically the whole dialogue if you want. So as I say, it goes on for about 2 or 3 hours. It's a lot of repeating the same stuff on the one hand, but then again, it's also not bad with stuff's being repeated because you do it over and over. If you're practicing, you're doing it over and over again, but these expressions, these concepts start to stick in your head once you've done them to death. Okay, this, as I say, was Togo. So who's let me see, who've we got? Has anyone volunteered? I don't see any hand. I need someone to put a hand up. Don't be shy.
And we would be doing site translation, I suppose, at this point, correct?
We're doing site translation, but as if we were interpreting it, okay? You need to imagine that you're actually interpreting it, okay? So you can't cheat and go at the end of the sentence and handily take stuff from the end of the sentence and put it in the middle because it makes it sound nicer in English. The idea is to think in interpretation mode, okay? You'll see, Sandra, as we go around, you'll see what I mean. Maybe you follow initially and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I've got Monday. How are you, Monday?
I'm all right, but I'm coughing a little bit, so I
don't think we'll catch anything across the internet. I think we'll be all right. I've had Delta, so I should be all right. No, I don't know. It's risky, Monday. It's risky. We'll try it anyway. We'll go anyway.
Okay. Shall I start?
Yeah, go from the start. Yeah. So we got African French here. We're going to start it's a bit flowery at the start, so let's see how Monday deals with her flowers.
Okay. President, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be taking the floor before the Council on Human Rights in order to present the Republic of Togo's report on the third cycle of the Universal Periodic Review.
Okay, just stop you there quickly. So that's all, that's all very good. It's on if we take the floor before. Okay, the Human Rights Council. You need to get the name of the institution, right? It's called the Human Rights Council, the HRC for short, if you want. Okay, because it's the first time. This would be the first speaker actually at the meeting. Okay, so you give them the full, the Human Rights Council to present. Yeah, okay, the Republic. With countries, most countries, you don't need to say the Republic. You can probably just say Togo. Again, maybe because it's the minister, maybe because it's the introduction, maybe you go Republic of Togo. After that, you don't worry about it, you just say Togo. For their third, again, you can call it the UPR, the Universal Periodic Review, but okay, because again, it's the first, he's like the keynote speaker or whatever, you give him the full name. But after that, then you just use acronyms, okay? Carry on.
On this occasion, I'd like to address you, President, and all members of Council to convey best wishes for the new year.
Okay.
Sorry, on behalf of the government of Togo, and on behalf of my delegation.
Oh, just a second. I want to say
sorry.
here, I would probably, okay, je voudrais en cette occasion solennelle. I'd be inclined just to say here, I just want to take the opportunity rather than going to, again, trying to render every single word of the French here. I think in English, I want to take this opportunity to adresser, okay, because you don't know what he's going to address.
Yes,
so
yes.
a good word to throw it, I mean, to extend to you, okay, maybe. We like to extend things in English, right? I want to extend to you, President. Take note, okay, Human Rights Council has a president, not a chairman, okay, so that's good, Monday. To extend to you and all the members of the council, my best wishes. You know, you can, with extend, it leaves things very open. You can extend best wishes, you can extend congratulations, you can extend sympathies, condolences. It leaves you really, leaves your options open.
Okay.
Good. Health, prosperity, and happiness.
May one ask questions, or it's best?
You
not
can
to
ask questions if you want, yeah.
Yeah, so for example, you say, which of course makes one save time, and for starters, that you would not include solemn opportunity. Yet, isn't there something essential as far as the sort of seriousness of the matter that one would be losing by eliminating that adjective? I always wonder about that. I'm always tortured by that.
I get what you're saying. I personally wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't think it's a disaster. I think you can leave it out. If you want, you could say, I take this solemn, I mean, we wouldn't say solemn, we take this unique opportunity. You can maybe throw in an adjective there. But generally, I would say, under these circumstances, I think you're okay to. I would just say, you know, in English, you'd just say, I take this opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have. How are you doing, Haley?
Hi, I'm really well, Roland. Thank you.
Good, good. How's the new year treating you? Working?
Yes, working, recovering from the exam, and
Right.
working.
Where have you been working?
Yeah, but everything's. I've been working at WHO and ITU and ILO in Geneva.
Oh, right. So plenty of work going then. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, still quite a few meetings, which is a relief.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let you do this next paragraph, eh?
Okay. Allow me, on behalf of the Togolese government and of the delegation of which I am leading, to pay tribute to the HRC and to all the UN mechanisms for the work undertaken towards the promotion and protection of human rights.
Okay, so this actually picks up a bit on Sandra's question a moment. This bit, la délégation que j'ai l'insigne honneur de conduire. Again, I would say if you have if you have the text before you know you got time to prepare it, you can say, allow me on behalf of the Togolese delegation, Togolese government and delegation, that it is my signal honor, my exceptional honor to lead, to pay tribute. But I think also, again, if you didn't have the text, you can really just say on behalf of the Togolese government delegation, okay, that I lead, or the Togolese government and my delegation to pay tribute to the Human Rights Council. Again, it's just a judgment call. If you've got the time to prepare something nice, then say it, like with the solennel before. If you don't have the text before you, you just have to think mentally. You're going to have a long statement to do here. You want to save your energy for the stuff that really is important. This sort of stuff, not that. These sort of adjectives, l'insigne, honneur, occasion solennelle, not that important in the big picture. So you judge it for yourself, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. All the UN mechanisms for. And then also, look, for the work, now I noticed that Haley said that they have undertaken, what did you say for all the work that they?
I did say undertaken, yeah.
Okay, I mean, all of this, hang on, I want to find the little pen thing. Where's the little pen draw? Let me draw. Can I draw? You see, I would say all of this crap here, qui est accompli. Just get rid of it. UN mechanisms for their work to promote and protect human rights. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan, do the third para.
The Tongolese government.
Togolese, not Tonga.
That's what I meant. The Togolese government welcomes the constructive engagement of all technical and financial partners, especially UN.
Now let's see what you know. How you know if you know your French acronyms here. UNDP, right?
The OIF.
Do you know what that is?
Is it the Francophonie?
Ah, very good. That's exactly what it is. I sometimes call them. I would say Francophonie, the Francophonie. Yeah.
Okay. The Human Rights Council, the EU, and friendly countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Okay, for their multifaceted support in protection and promotion of human rights in Togo.
Okay, so just remember, yeah, some of those acronyms you should know. Okay, so you need HCR and UE, but yeah, so the PNUD is UNDP, UN Development Program. You also have PNUD, like PNUE. That's UNEP. That's another important one that starts with a P. OEF, so Francophonie. Yeah, and then so okay. Look, I noticed you went. You sort of did literally leurs appuis multiformes, their multifaceted support. Again, sometimes it's good to imagine. This is so the guy I do those Portuguese episodes with, right? Brandon, very young guy actually. He's really good. And there's something in a couple of episodes that he said to me that he like a good analogy he drew that sometimes I think I'm interpreting this to a friend sitting next to me. And so when I think about that, in English, we probably say, I want to thank them for all their support. I think it's more natural English to say thank you for all their support rather than for their multifaceted support. You can say either, but he told me this about a month ago, and I just like thinking about it. I've got a friend sitting next to me. How would I make it most plain to him if I was just speaking, English? So it's a good thing to think about. Okay,
but I'm going to stop. I'm very, very sorry to insist on that, but yes. They are not with friends.
No, so they're not with you.
I have this big problem where I started working before conferences at immigration tribunals here in Canada. And sometimes I'm very stuck with being very precise because of the recordings in tribunals. So again, he's not talking here to his friends. So may I ask you, if you don't mind, why do you suggest using that image in your head when you're working?
I think you've got to pick your battles. I mean, the point is for you to be as plain as possible. You're speaking to English speakers, and you just in English we wouldn't really say I want to thank them for their multifaceted support. We would say I thank them for all their support, and when we say all their support, that's what it's the same meaning ultimately. It's just slightly differently expressed. There's another example. Okay, another expression that you'll come across. I was thinking about on a mené des actions pour blah blah blah, pour toutes les actions qu'ils ont menées or whatever. And and in English you're pretty much for all the actions we've conducted. I mean, you can say that, but like for being very active in doing something. When we actually come across, I'll show you what I mean. But sometimes I think you're better off just saying what is most natural in English than trying to say exactly what the French is. Sometimes that level of accuracy is extremely important. With this, I don't think it's that important. You're just wanting to get across, the feelings of the, his in as natural a sounding fashion as possible. Would you like to try the next paragraph, Sandra?
Yes, why not?
Lors de l'examen
with apologies in advance.
No, it's okay.
During the previous 2016 review, 195 recommendations were formulated, out of which 167 were accepted and 28 noted.
Okay, so I think that's good, right? So just to give, so this is when they make recommendations, the country under review, the country can either accept them, reject them, or they take note of them. Okay, there's three basic categories. Yeah.
Okay, So were taken note of.
Or just, you can just say noted. It's fine just to say noted. Yeah. I'd say.
Okay. Among those accepted, 26 had already been implemented before being formulated.
Mhm.
And since then, in order to donner effet, to
Simpler than you think. Think simple in this case.
well, to use to implement again to
You can say to implement. You can just give effect is a very good. Certainly
Okay.
at the UN, it's an expression that they use a lot to give effect to recommendations, to give effect to proposals. You look in the UN Charter. You read the UN Charter in English. They're giving effect to things all over the place.
Okay, thank you. So since then, in order to give effect to the recommendations that were accepted and reinforce the cooperation with UN mechanisms in the field of human rights, Togo took initiative, mostly seeking the ratification of international tools in the field of human rights.
I'll just stop you there just to say a couple of things.
you.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't reinforce cooperation. I would bolster it, strengthen it, enhance it, for example. Yeah, we got the UN. It depends again here. It depends how much leeway you're giving the speaker, doesn't it? So you know, if you're 3 or 4 words behind him, then you'll hear the droit de l'homme, and so these are the UN human rights mechanisms, or the UN mechanisms for human rights, whatever. Not including, notamment, yeah, including. I like what you said. They're seeking the ratification of international human rights instruments. Go on, just finish. Just go up to the end of the para.
The harmonization of legislation with ratified instruments and the adoption of national or sectoral policies and programs.
Okay, that's all good. Any questions so far? Because I'm now going to skip ahead a bit. Okay, I'm going to skip up down to here. Okay, anyone else new? Okay, so back to Monday. So we're going to take it from here. Okay, Monday. En matière d'acceptation.
In terms of acceptance of international standards, the Republic, Togo rather.
Togo, right? Forget the Republic by this point.
Party to 9 principal international instruments for the promotion and protection of human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Within the United Nations, of which the
Let me just stop you there. The 9. Okay, so the 9 main international instruments for. Okay, so when you're doing these human rights, okay, they always talk about promotion and protection. Doesn't even matter which order they come in. Just say promotion and protection of human rights. Now I was going to say, because here it's quite a long sentence. So don, whenever you hear a don, it's always maybe a good opportunity to start a new sentence. I was wondering if you're going to. I mean, you don't have to, but I think it makes your life a little bit easier if you start a new sentence when going into English.
Yeah.
So go on, yeah.
The latest one is the International Convention on the Protection of Rights of Migrant Workers and their families and their family members, ratified in 2020, with other conventions ratified in 2021. This is a convention.
I think he's talking about d'autres conventions. I think that il s'agit. Yeah, but I mean, as in, this is to do with, I mean.
Okay, this relates to the Convention on the Status of Stateless Persons.
Very good. That's a very important word. You all know that, apatride, okay?
And, they relate to the... That's how they relate to those ones. And the Convention on Reducing Cases of Statelessness. Okay. 1961. So
statelessness being a thing. Okay, so that's good. Okay, Jonathan, carry on. Thanks. Actually, you know what, Jonathan, I'm just going to just go down to that. Let's just start from this paragraph here, okay? La réforme constitutionnelle, if you wouldn't mind, to start from there.
Okay.
I'll put the full statements, okay? When I come to posting the recording and all that, I mean, you've already got the statements, in fact, but I'll post all the links and everything so that you can go and practice the original audio and everything. Okay, on you go, Jonathan.
Okay. The constitution reform carried out after the adoption of Law 2019-003 of the 15th of May 2019, amending the Constitution of the 14th of October 1992, has enshrined in our Constitution the abolition of the death penalty and the life imprisonment.
Let me just stop you there. A couple of interesting. I mean, a couple of things I point out here. So in something like this, okay, you're going to have, I say, these ministers coming there, these officials, and they'll tell you the numbers of these specific laws. Okay, these laws, that the number, it means nothing to anyone really. No one cares what, like 2019-003. If any, so I would focus, when you hear that, they'll say, okay, this number of this date, okay, maybe the adoption of the law in May 2019. I think that the year is perhaps the most important thing, and then the month. I'd say that the number of the law is the least important thing when you're sort of prioritizing. Okay, on the adoption of the law of May 2019. Now it's on modification. Again, if you've got the statement in front of it, it's easy. Okay, you say the number, but again, if you don't have the statement in front of you, and sometimes you don't, not all countries give you this opening statement. And you just have to think that you're going to be in here this for the long run. You're here for like 15 minutes going at this speed, at this intensity, and you have to pace yourselves, which just means dropping stuff that is not important. So that's not important. And I don't really think even that is May 2019. Okay, carry on. So what did you say for la constitutionnalisation?
To enshrine in the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if you could say the constitutionalization. You probably could, but it sounds better to say to enshrine in the Constitution. Abolition of the death penalty, yeah, pena perpetuité, life imprisonment. Carry on.
And to reach a consensus within the political class on the mandate and the modality of the vote to elect the President of the Republic, and to review the term of mandate of members of Parliament and of senators, as well as how their bureaus function.
Okay, yeah. So scrutin, obviously, you know, that's just a vote, the method of, the modality of vote, the method of election. In fact, the scrutin d'élection, vote, on the mandate and way of electing the president, the modality for electing the president. To revoir la durée. That's good. La durée du mandat. That's actually good. The term. I was just thinking the duration, but you're right. In English, how long is the term? What's his term? That's good. What did you say for revoir, to review?
I think I said review, yeah.
Review or revisit. I sometimes revisit things. I don't think you need to win député. I think you need to say deputies. Elected officials. If you're not certain, that's a good neutral thing that can fit in for any country. Because obviously some places they call them deputies, like in Russia, they're deputies. Some places they're members of parliament, MPs. So an elected official is sort of one. Legislators. Could you call them lawmakers, legislators? They call them sometimes senators, and the functioning of the bureaus, the operations of how the bureaus operate.
So you're not putting together the député and the sénateur for elected officials, only the député.
You know what? I suppose I mean, if you're in a hurry, Now you mention it, Sandra. If you're in a hurry, they could probably fall under the same umbrella. I think it's better if you can get separately, because obviously the deputy are from the lower house, the senators from the upper house. So it's better if you did get it. But I think elected officials would actually cover them both. So if you were in trouble, sometimes you have to make those little shortcuts. So
Roland, if I may, can I ask you a
Yep.
question? It's Hayley. Going
Yep.
back to the word loi, when would you use law and when would you use bill? Because sometimes I think they can be interchangeable. Would you only use bill when it's
No,
a projet de loi?
Projet
Yeah.
de loi. Yeah. Don't that's specific.
Yeah.
Projet de loi is a bill. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The things that is interchangeable is a draft law and a bill. I would say they are interchangeable. But if it's just a loi, then a loi is a law.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got Sterling. How you doing, Sterling? Wakey.
Let me. Hello.
How you doing,
I'm unmuting
Sterling?
myself. Doing well. How are you, Roland?
I'm all right. Good to see you, mate. Let's have you then, and we'll have. Let me just see if I wanted. We're going to go down here now. Hang on, I'm going to take you down the text a bit. Okay, go from here. This is an interesting part. Can you see that? Pour assurer l'égalité et la non-discrimination.
Okay. In order to ensure equality and non-discrimination, the national policy for gender equality and its action plan of 2011, updated in July 2019. I'm sorry, I really screwed this up.
No,
There's
that's
no
okay.
verb. There's no main verb in this sentence.
No, there is. Yeah, there will be. Just go to the end. You'll see.
Almost
Okay, yeah,
German
sorry.
here.
Yeah, in order to ensure equality and non-discrimination, the national policy for gender equality and its action plan of 2011, amended in July of 2019.
I think you said updated initially, didn't you?
Yeah, updated.
I prefer updated. Yeah.
Okay, updated in July of 2019, along with its implementation strategy, were adopted.
Okay, there you go. You got your verb at the end there. Were adopted. You probably want to get equity. Okay, they say l'équité et l'égalité de genre. You probably want to try and get both because they are different. I believe equality is like equality of opportunity, and I believe that equity is equality of outcome. There's a difference. I think equality is the idea of equal opportunity, but the equity is equality of outcome. I think that is the politically correct definition. I think that's the nuance. If anyone knows better, please do tell me. Does anyone have a better? That's what from my reading, that's what I think is the difference.
Yeah, there's this image always that they talk about. They talk about it here a lot in Canada,
right,
about the business of people not being equal, but rather having to address each person's different needs. And that has to do with, I don't know if
equity.
Equity, yeah, with
I
equity.
think.
Yeah.
Reparations or something like that? Hi,
Say again?
Isn't that when you have reparations or something like that?
I think it's tied into it, perhaps. I think it's tied into it. Yeah.
Yeah, gender equality and equity. That's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, they do tend to come as a lot as a package. Anyway. Go on, Sterling. Do you want to do the rest of the paragraph?
Okay. The law of the 14th of June 2018 on land and property rights, guaranteeing the access to the possession of property to women on the same footing as men. Guaranteed the right. Yeah.
Yeah, guarantees access. Yeah, okay. So yeah, foncier, it's good that you got, so it's all anything to do with foncier, it's all to do with land. I guess it's the land and domanial, maybe estate code. I've not heard. So code foncier is something you come across a lot to do with land, like tenure of land. It's quite important. Yeah. I think it's quite an important concept, maybe as in the developing world. I think to give women equal rights to land tenure as men. In fact, that's exactly what it talks about. Go on. I've got just let me see. Yep, go on. Okay. Jonathan. We got to plusieurs autres initiatives.
Several initiatives
sont pris pour assurer l'égalité et l'autonomisation.
Yes. Several other initiatives were taken to ensure equality and the autonomization of women.
This is an important
Doesn't sound like
word
this.
in
Empowerment.
empowerment. There you go. Empowerment. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's neat. Okay.
Empowerment of women. All right. That the same can be said of the fight against violence towards women and gender-based violence.
Gender. Okay. This, you could say the same could be said for combating. I often find that in English is a sort of the smoothest way of doing it, of combating violence against women and gender-based violence. GBV, they call it often, okay, as an acronym. You also have SGBV, sexual and gender-based violence. Again, these are acronyms that you will hear that you, maybe non-English speakers, non-English natives, you'll certainly hear a lot coming from the English into your languages. Okay, let's go back then to Monday. How many goes have you had so far, Monday? 2 or have you had 2 goes?
2.
Who's Jonathan? How many have you heard? 2. Haley's only had 1 go, so I'll just got Haley here for this one. The next paragraph. Oops. Il a noté que.
Okay. 2020 was a tipping point in the promotion of women in the business arena, in the business world, perhaps. A number of women.
I think
Management.
Yeah.
The management of management in the business world, or management of.
I think you're taking too much of a leap here. I think just
Okay.
public affairs and the management of public affairs. I think a tipping point. I think that's a more turning point. A tipping point tends to have, I don't know. To me, could have negative connotations.
Yeah.
I don't think this is meant to have a negative connotation.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Yep, turning point. A number of women are leading a number of institutions, such as the National Commission for Human Rights, the National Assembly, the Premature. I don't know.
What's that? Okay, we'll just go and do the others. Do the others,
Okay.
and then we'll come back to that.
The General Secretariat of the Presidency, etc. The presence of women in government is an illustration of this.
Okay, my impression is, okay, several women have maybe ont été portées à la tête, maybe have been appointed to the head of a number of institutions, just to get that idea across. Yeah, all these countries have national human rights commissions. You often hear, you'll hear NHRC, national human rights institutions. They talk about more. They talk about NHRIs a lot, national human rights institutions. But all these countries have like a national human rights commission. National Assembly. Now, my primature, we've got B here. B, is that, to me, sounds African French. Would I be right in saying?
Yeah, I think it sounds to be correct. SE2 is from West Africa. La primature, c'est le siège du Premier ministre, je crois.
The Prime Minister, right. So I don't think they would say that in French. This seems to me this seems sort of a sort of African French thing to say. I was thinking, right?
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know in France what they say. For what the Prime Minister is, he works at Matignon, right?
Yeah,
Is that what Matignon?
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yes, is the primature is the office of the Prime Minister.
Right, the Prime Minister. Okay. I mean, my understanding was that a woman had been elected Prime Minister at some point in Togo. That was my reading of that. And to the Secretary General of the Presidency, okay, is another illustration of this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking for primature. I looked for it in the Government of Canada dictionary, and to my surprise, it wasn't there. And
it was right. It's not in word reference either. It's not even in word. I looked in word reference, and it wasn't there.
And when you look on Google, then you find several, indeed, African countries that use it. Rwanda, Congo.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then we'll go back up to Monday. Then let's do from here. S'agissant de l'indépendance de la justice. Can you see where we are, Monday?
Yeah. With regard to the independence of the judiciary,
Yeah.
the law on the judicial structure of 2019 establishes a new judicial order that is more modern, accessible, which enhances specialization, independence of the judiciary, and equitable access to justice in the community.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so I was going to say, so you'll see some of these things of underlying justice de proximité. So that's it. So I think that community, like community policing, I think they talk about the police de proximité. You come up, this is an expression comes up quite a bit when they talk about these legal things. So I think community justice. The law, it was a law on a code on judicial organization 2019 establishes a new, more modern, more accessible judicial organization, structure of the judiciary. I think you said independence of justice. That's good. Go on and do a little bit more, Monday.
Okay.
Suivant les réformes constitutionnelles.
Following the 2019 constitutional reforms and with a view to strengthening the attachment of the magistrates to ethics and independence of the judiciary, and also in a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting what you've done there, because I know deontology is again one of these words that comes up a lot. It's a sort of bureaucratic term. They often talk about code de deontology and ethics code. So I don't know what the difference between deontology and éthique is. Do we actually have a native French speaker among us here?
Yes. Ici and yeah.
Well, my French is between an A and a B, but
Okay,
I was going to look for the difference here.
Okay. Did someone say that the Essie is a native French speaker?
Oui, mais je ne sais pas dire la différence entre.
Vous savez pas la différence.
I've always known.
J'ai l'impression que déontologique, en tout cas, c'est remplacé de plus en plus par éthique en français.
Ah, c'est vrai. Alors, d'accord, ils sont plus ou moins.
It's the same in Spanish, I think, ontología ética. Right. They are like kind of similar, but they've been replaced over time.
Ah, I see. So
I was going to say that the deontology is usually like professional ethics, and ethics is just in general. That's the feeling I get.
I see. That's interesting. I think that the difference is so fine that I think you would, at the best of Monday did that, which just said ethics and carried on. Okay. And just
I've always known it by the last definition.
Which one's that? Sorry,
I've always known it by the last definition.
The professional ethics and the general ethics.
Professional code of ethics to govern a specific profession. It would govern a specific profession. I
see. Oh, that's interesting to know. There you go. Actually, okay. Go on, Monday, and finish the paragraph. Tout en assurant une procédure contradictoire.
Okay. In a bid to ensure an adversarial process.
Oh, well done. Can you read my pencil? Did you read what? Did you cheat?
No, I can't see that.
Yeah, good.
I watch a lot of procedure.
Very good.
Which ensures the rights of the defense and appeals. No, the right to appeal.
Yeah, the possibility of appeal.
Or appeals proceed.
Yeah.
Before independent disciplinary bodies, decisions on disciplinary issues involving magistrates found wanting and who have been subject to.
Just give me 1 second. I'm going to plug the battery on my computer, otherwise the battery's going to die. Go ahead.
Okay, who have been anonymously reported shall henceforth be published in full.
Yeah, imagine getting that without text. That would be nasty,
Yes.
right? Recourse. I like we said, it's a right to appeal. There's other words that are similar to that, that are useful to know. Lots of them begin with R. There's all these R words, like remedy, redress, restitution. reparations. I remember all these. They're very similar. They have slight nuances, but it's good to sort of remember them as a package. I think in this case it is specifically appeal, is my impression. But those R words are very good. Remedy, redress, restitution, and reparations.
You're using that. Sorry, you're using that as a mnemonic method, yes? To say to
that's a
yourself
good
that
word.
those
Mnemonic.
are the R's.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
It's something I do something similar with the word in Spanish, saquear. Pilfer, plunder, pillage. You need these sort of little techniques, don't you, to make your life easier. Contre les magistrats défaillants. Yeah, can anyone give me a good word for défaillant? Because I was thinking sometimes a good expression in English, but it's a bit long, is like dereliction of duty. But it's a long thing to say. That's a good phrase to have in some scenarios. Talk about dereliction of duty, but
and what about failing? It's totally
failing magistrates. Yeah.
Did you say negligent?
Negligent. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad, actually. I like that. That could be good. Yep, that could work. Oh, now the important thing I want to highlight, this is the last thing we're going to do from this text, is procédure contradictoire, so adversarial procedure. So for those of you who are maybe earlier on in your careers, you might not have run into this, but it's important to have a sort of general idea of this. You've basically got, to my understanding of it at any rate, is that an adversarial procedure is what you have in the Anglosphere, in the British system, the common law system. It's adversarial, you're sort of debating, the lawyers on either side are basically debating each other, arguing with each other. The opposite to that, the other side of that, is called apparently non-adversarial or inquisitive, which I believe is what they have in the sort of the French system. Okay, where it's more, there's not so much interaction, it's less dynamic. So I believe that system, so that's case law, obviously, as opposed to common law. Case law, you have, I say, non-adversarial or inquisitive procedure. Okay, so I think we're going to stop there with the French. Can everyone hear me? Yes, you can. Okay, great. Okay, so put your hands up to volunteer. So this was Venezuela. So at that Togo one, I wasn't there. I didn't actually do that meeting. I was at this Venezuelan one, right? And I don't know if you've had a chance to look up to read these before you came, but these statements are hellish, right? So they bring these, they'll bring these sort of and it's, again, if you don't, even with the text, we had the text, they did, had the text. Even with the text, it's brutal. If you practice this at home, you'll see, for example, even if you have they do a lot of jumping around. They'll skip certain bits out because they've got a time limit as well that they're working to, and it can be really hard to keep up. And then some of the in-house jargon that they use is, again, can be really difficult, again, especially without the text. So you really have to focus on on cutting bits out. You really have to try and keep things to the minimum while ensuring that you're getting the full meaning over. Hopefully you'll see as we're going through it what I mean. So this time when we're going through it, I really want you to focus on keeping everything to the minimum. All right, just deleting, editing those bits that aren't really that important. So this first one, as you see, it's the Executive Secretary, National Council on Human Rights. Who have we got volunteering then? Okay, Sandra, why didn't you kick us off? Let's see.
Once again, apologies in advance. So during this third cycle of the universal periodic...
Stop. No. See, don't bother with the universal periodic review. Just acronym it, just the UPR. Yeah.
Even if it's the first time.
Even though, by this time they're into it, okay? This wasn't the first speaker. This was actually, you know what? They didn't, I don't know, I can't remember if they gave the introductory statement. So what they had the introductory statement, then Q&A, and then they went back to the delegation. So this was the second speaker in the delegation. So by this point, they were already actually well into it. So you feel free to cut everything out that you don't need.
Okay, during this third cycle of the UPR, the National Council of Human Rights developed actions to continue to bolster the enjoyment of human rights with the participation of social entities and the support of the UN.
Okay, see all that. All that is just unnecessary rubbish. How can we compress that into a couple of words? They continued to develop actions to continue bolstering. So just how can we can cut that down to about 3 words, I think.
Continued to try to...
No, I'd get rid of the try. Continued to...
yeah. There was a joke my father told about this guy who wanted money from his father, and it was in times of telegrams, and he had to send very few words in the telegram.
Right, there you go.
And at the end, he only sent his name, and the father would understand that the guy needs money. Okay, but I'm very bad at this. So wait a second.
So you said continued to...
continue to enhance human rights.
Exactly, and enhance, to continue to strengthen. Okay, el goce y disfrute. I mean, again, you don't really need both of these, do you? They pretty much...
Yeah, so I did enjoyment, but...
Yeah, enjoyment, so they continue to bolster the enjoyment of human rights. Okay, so all that is, that's all just rubbish, isn't it? It's just, you don't need it. Let's do that, there we go. Go on.
With the participation, is that where you wanted me to continue?
Yeah.
With the participation of social, I said entities to put organizaciones and movimientos together, but to put together with the participation of social entities and the support of the UN.
Yeah, so that's good. So again, for example, under these circumstances, again, when you're stripping it to the bare bones, these sort of adjectives. I mean, okay, if you were to render protagonica, give me a word for that. That's a useful word to know, I mean.
Well, the main participation, maybe.
Can someone else, maybe it's easier for an English native. Come on, give me a good word for protagonica, participación protagónica.
Active participation.
I'd say proactive, if anything, proactive.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no,
proactive
that's not how I understood it. Thank you.
But again, I mean, there's a case to be made for just dropping it if you're in a real hurry. So the proactive participation of social organizations, you could probably just get rid of one of these, to be honest. A movement is an organization, isn't it? And support from the UN system, let's say. Okay, who've we got? Victoria in Peru, right?
From Peru, I'm in France.
Oh, you're in France. Okay, where about in France?
In Rennes.
In Rennes, okay. This is the first time you've come to one of these, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you try this second paragraph?
Okay, I'll do my best.
There's someone who
Someone's
has
on the
some
piano. I can hear some
piano.
Oh, sorry, it's my son. I'll just do something about it.
Just mute. Yeah, just mute Monday when you...
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, nice one. Okay, on you go.
The National Plan of Human Rights was successfully implemented during this third period.
They call them cycles, so it's also they always thought these are cycles. So yeah, you don't have to do anything fancy with that. Yeah.
Okay. In 2016, 545 indicators were created to monitor the plan. The project's actions and necessary resources for their implementation were incorporated in different plans within the state.
Okay, I was going to say, so it's a bit tricky for us English natives. You got this in 2016 se diseñaron because there's no nominative, right?
Yeah.
It's all right if you, I guess you French, in French it's easier, but can cause a bit of a problem for us in English. So here you could say, for example, you turn the diseñaron into a noun. You could say 2016 saw the establishment of 545 indicators. You know, there's not, you could wait, you could just remember the diseñaron. In 2016, 540 indicators were established. Again, another thing to think is he's talking about everything that we have done in Venezuela. So you know that you're probably going to be on fairly safe ground if you go with we. In 2016, we developed 545 indicators. Again, you got to just make that decision in the moment. Yeah. Okay. Projects, actions, resources for implementation were incorporated. I sometimes say incorporated. I think integrated, perhaps it sounds better in English. Integrated into the various operative plans of the organs of state. Yeah. Okay. Go on. Why don't you do the next paragraph as well, Victoria?
Okay. In 2020, an inclusive assessment was made on the on the compliance of the national plan, and that determined that 93% of the 213 actions were completely or partially implemented. With the support of UNICEF, there was the plan for children, girls and teenagers was adapted.
Okay. Again, you could, so along similar lines here, okay, in El 2020, you could say 2020 saw the development of an inclusive assessment. I tend with evaluación, I tend to say assessment. I think assessment is better in English. Okay. Also, when you hear se realizó, again, this is more for the English natives, I kind of think that you can just say there was. What you really want to focus, so what you're focusing on here, when I'm doing this and I've got something like this in front of me, I'm looking for the nouns. What matters here is look for the nouns, right? Because you can get the verbs, if you don't get the verb dead right, you can still get the meaning across. But if you don't have the noun, you have the verb but not the noun. It's not really going to help you that much. You really want to focus your mind on finding the noun. So I think you could just say in 2020 there was an inclusive assessment of compliance with the national plan, establishing that 93 of the 23 actions prevista. So you could just say, 93 of the 213 actions therein. Okay, previsto. I usually go with provided for. Of the 213 actions provided for were fully or partially implemented. But again, if you're going really fast, you say the 230 actions therein. With the support of UNICEF, again, there was an adaptation of the plan. To be honest, when I hear para niños, niñas y adolescentes, niños, niñas is just children. I tend, if I'm on a hurry, I would say children,
no teenagers.
Children and teenagers. I'm saying because in Spanish it's always girls and boys. Yeah. Okay, girls plus boys equals children. So I know sometimes they specifically want to show that it's for both genders, both sexes, whatever. But I think often you can just compress it into children. Okay.
Okay.
All right, who else do we have here asking for? Okay, let's have Jonathan. Actualmente.
Okay. We are currently working on designing a consultation of the second National Human Rights Plan with technical assistance from the Office of the High Commissioner.
Yeah, I think the designing, I think I would say we're currently working on drawing up consultations. Establishing.
We're currently working on consultations, maybe.
Yeah, or just drop the, work on that again. Yeah, you probably drop the El Diseño, yeah.
The recommendations that will be accepted.
I think you could just say the recommendations accepted. Just drop that notion.
Okay. The recommendations accepted as a result of this UPR will be integrated into this new plan.
Exactly. Currently working on and design a consultation. Yeah. Obviously, Oficina de Alta Comisionada is often just referred to as OHCHR as well. Okay. That can be that's a very important acronym to know under these circumstances. Go on, Jonathan, go on a bit more.
In the context of the human rights plan, the institutions of the state carried out more than 1,200 training and capacity building activities aimed at public officials, including police and military staff, as well as members of the judiciary.
Okay, that's okay. So here I'm really thinking about cutting things down. You said, yeah, in the context of the human rights plan, the institution, you can probably say the institutions of state, maybe the authorities carried out without, because it obviously goes without saying maybe that it's of the state, carried out, okay, formación y capacitación, for training and capacity building. But again, to me, that's more or less the same thing, isn't it? So just drop one of them. And this dirigidas, sometimes you feel obliged to give an English verb, like geared for, but again, it was training for public officials. You don't actually sometimes need to render that verb. And here I would just say including for police and military, without even mentioning funcionarios. Okay, I think in English that again that's implicit when you say including for police and military, as well as judiciary staff, judiciary operators. Of the system, the system, it's neither here nor there. What about, Monday?
Moreover, the issue of human rights was included in professional training and at the 4th level.
Yeah, I think that's all together, isn't it? Professional and 4th level training, yeah.
Yes, just threw me a bit. And in specialized centers, focusing on training of civil servants, such as, do I need to really go into that?
Yeah, you know what? Yes, I want to see how you do it, because this is something, go on.
Yeah, all right. The security training college, if it's a military thing, yes.
Is that your
the
boy
Venezuelan? Yes, sorry. Yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. He gets a starring role.
The Venezuelan Military Academy and National School, training center. The Correctional Officers Training Center.
Okay, just stop there. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Just stop there. So let me just, so a couple of things. Okay, formación continua. So I like your professional training. Another thing that we talk about, I think, in English is on-the-job training. I think we talked about that, right? As an alternative. Training also funcionarios, okay, civil servants. When I first started, it took me a while to get what the equivalent of that was in other languages. So you might, you might not know. Yeah, so civil servants that's what you want in English. Les fonctionnaires here in French, we call them. And then, okay, so why did I ask you to read out the names of these institutions? Because this happens a lot in these kinds of meetings. If you could just mute yourself, Monday.
Oh, sorry.
Just when you're not. Is that they will come and they'll give you the names of all these weird institutions, and you have to try and get some of it across. You could maybe say, and they'll list them. Like, imagine he's reading, he's going, como la Universidad Experimental de la Seguridad, la Universidad Militar Bolivariana de Venezuela, la Escuela Nacional de Formación, Servidores Públicos Penitenciarios. And you just got to pick out the sort of important words, like, I don't know, the Security University, Venezuela Military University, the Civil Service Training School, or correctional school. You just have to try and pick those, look and listen for those nouns and try and put them into something semi-coherent. Doesn't matter if you don't get it exactly right, but the point is, this is something that you will run into with these local institutions, that you have to try and sort of more or less convey what they do. Okay, let's go down a bit. Let's have, has anyone any of you newcomers who've joined in the last sort of half hour want to have a go? Feel free to, like Gwen or Stephanie, if you're feeling, or you just follow along, don't worry. Anyway, let's have Haley. We'll go, yeah, la Constitución exige.
Okay, the Constitution demands of the state to adopt positive actions and measures for those groups who might be discriminated against or in vulnerable situations.
I would try, and can you give me that again, but try and synthesize it a bit?
Yeah. Enshrined in the Constitution, the state has adopted positive measures for people who are in vulnerable situations or have been discriminated against.
Yeah, maybe so the Constitution calls on the state to adopt positive measures and actions, whatever, but I think you could probably just get rid of one of those under the circumstances for groups in situations of discrimination and vulnerability. Again, if you're going really fast, you could probably drop one of these. Let's just get rid of that one, for example. Again, I should stress, it's better to have it in, okay? But if, again, you're sensing that he's getting away from you, then you have to take that decision, maybe just to drop one. Whenever there's a list, you have to think, okay, can I drop something from the list? Starring participación protagónica. I'm just hearing in the chat here that Jonathan for a starring role. That's nice, isn't it?
No, because it's what you said about Monday's son.
A starring role.
And I just thought, maybe.
I get you. Okay, go on, Haley, do the rest of the para.
Through a broad legislative framework, Venezuela guarantees equality and non-discrimination, also creating institutions that craft and
nice. I was
implement...
going to say that, but craft policy, nice.
That's one of your special...
Oh, that's one of my specials, that's it. There you go.
Okay, that craft and implement public policies to uphold this right.
Okay, very good. I cut nothing. Yeah, that's all good. Let's go to Sandra. Just skip that. So down here, conforme a estos instrumentos. And there's another Roland classic word here in this paragraph.
In accordance to these instruments, public officials must abstain from any act of discrimination based on any circumstance whose aim or result is to nullify or eliminate or devalue
nice.
The recognition, the enjoyment, or the implementation of human rights. I didn't cut enough, did I?
Yeah, but it was pretty good. Some of the vocabulary was very nice. In line with those instruments, civil servants should, so abstain from. So I wrote here, refrain from. Another word that I like to use is eschew. They should eschew any kind of act. So all that abstenerse de realizar, you can just do that in one word, they should eschew. ESCH for you non-native, ESCHEW.
It's a transitive verb, eschew.
Yes, it's a transit. Yeah, transitive. Okay. Yeah, exactly. You. Sorry, ignore that. I was going to say here, any act or actuación. I mean, come on, you don't need. I mean, really, it's just any act of discrimination based on any circumstances whose goal might be to. You said to annul. Did you say annul or? Is that what you said?
I think I said annul or nullify or
nullify. Another word you'll hear is to vitiate. Do you know that word? To vitiate. VITILATE. When I come to producing this for the episode, I'll put that in a box, sort of here. Vitiate. That's I've heard that used a few times at the UN. It's useful to know also for you non-native speakers to vitiate something means to nullify it, to void it. Okay. So goce or ejercicio. Okay, so goce, enjoyment, ejercicio, exercise, definitely. Again, you're going faster. You could probably do without one. You could probably drop one of those. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me just see here. I'm going to move on to the site. Yeah. Okay. Let's just do this paragraph here. Let's go back to Victoria. Where are you from in Peru, by the way, Victoria?
I'm from Lima.
You're from Lima. I've been
Yeah.
to Lima. I've been to Lima.
Did you like it?
Long time ago, Jesus, in 2001. I spent a month in Peru. I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like it? But did you travel around?
I did. Arequipa. I remember Arequipa. That place was great.
Yeah, I know. Lima tends to be a bit gray, but during the
It was a bit
summertime,
grey.
it's beautiful.
It was very polluted at the time. There was a big sort of grey.
I mean, it's always like that. I prefer the weather in the UK.
There's similarities, maybe. But...
It doesn't get as cold.
Right.
But, it's very nice.
Okay.
In Agosto.
Yep.
Okay. In August of 2017,
You're getting all these reflexive verbs.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it deliberately, but
in August of 2017, the Truth Commission, or the Commission for the Truth, Justice, Peace, and Public Tranquility was created with the objective to research violent acts for political motives, to contribute to the establishment of truth and to guarantee the right attention for the victims.
okay, let me just stop you there. So again, here you could say, August 2017 saw the creation of the commission, the Truth, Justice, Peace, Public, or again, you could say in 2017, there was the creation, there was the establishment of the Commission for Truth, Justice, etc.
Do we have to say all of that, or just the Truth Commission?
That's an interest. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah, because back home it's la Comisión de la Verdad y la Reconciliación, but we just say la verdad.
That's the most. That's interesting. You just I think under this. I think you could certainly drop one or two. This Tranquilidad Pública doesn't seem of those four. Tranquilidad Pública doesn't seem all that important. Maybe the Truth and Justice Commission would certainly get across the message. Maybe I would I maybe put a full stop here? I might put a full stop here. The goal was to investigate. And I've given you one to the politically motivated acts of violence. But again, that would I had the text before, so I just numbered it like that to make it easier for me when I actually got there. So you might think acts of violence on political grounds. If the adjective carries on after you've already said it, you just have to sort of incorporate it as you go along. To contribute to the establishment of truth guarantee, comprehensive care or atención de las víctimas. I think we talk about assistance to victims generally in English. What do you think, native English speakers? We talk about care for victims, assistance to victims. I don't think we talk about assistance, but
sometimes support.
Support, or support to victims. That's very good. Yeah.
I'd say victim support.
Victim support. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, think of that. I think more so than care. I don't care for the elderly, but I think support or assistance to victims. That's good. Okay. Just go on, Victoria, to the end of the para.
Okay. The commission created measures of victim support. The commission created support measures for the 228 direct and indirect victims.
Yeah, I mean, you could basically say something here in English. You could just sort of say the commission offered comprehensive support to 228 direct and indirect victims. If you wanted to, as I say, to synthesize it. Go on and do that last.
Additionally, 235 people that I wouldn't know how to say privadas de libertad.
Okay, just
without freedom, received certain measurements. Let me see.
Okay, so for personas privadas de libertad, one short, you'll hear this again a lot. This is so bureaucratic, you know, they're talking about detainees, basically, 235 detainees. There's one word for personas privadas de libertad. I think that's the safest.
Detainees, okay.
Shortcut. Received, okay.
Precautionary measures.
Okay, so now, do you know what this? Okay, you obviously know because do the English natives know what they're referring to when you talk about sustitutivas?
Like conditional release or something.
Yeah, it's basically non-custodial measures. Okay, that's certainly in UK English, as in they're not going to prison, they get an house arrest, probation, whatever. I think I've also heard Americans, I think, use alternative precautionary measures at the recommendation of the Commission.
Okay.
Now we're gonna scroll down to the last text. Okay, if you can find the guy here. So this is guys from the Supreme Court of Justice. All right. And I see that Olena has got her hand up. So we're going to start with you, Olena. Oh, yes. How are you, Olena?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you. Very well. Where are you from, Olena?
So originally I was born in Poland, but I was educated in the UK. So I'm a bit bilingual.
And where are you currently?
I'm actually currently in Luxembourg.
In Luxembourg, okay.
Yeah.
You work there?
I do, yeah, I do.
Whereabouts do you work, if that's not a secret?
I'm doing a traineeship at the European Parliament.
Okay.
In translation.
Okay.
Yeah, so
cool.
Language work, yeah.
Right. How do you find Luxembourg? Quiet.
Bit of a melting pot.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But no, it's been really good.
Okay. All right. Let's. Why don't you give this a try then?
Sure. Thank you, Vice President. On behalf of the Venezuelan judiciary, allow me to
this is a really verbose way of just saying
I
something really simple.
I would like to discuss the following.
Yeah, I just want to say the following. Yeah, all that just to say I want to say it as follows. You'll know, by the way, the Venezuelans again, they're full of poderes. Okay, all their things are poderes. All you'll see the poder judicial, el poder. Victoria, the Peruvians, they don't have this, right? I think this is specifically Venezuelan thing, the poderes.
I think we do have el poder judicial.
But that's so general, right? Okay,
yeah, just that.
In Mexico, you have the poder ejecutivo, the poder legislativo,
los tres
and
poderes.
the poder judicial. You have the three poderes. Yeah.
The three. I think I think the or is it the Cubans? I know that the Cuban parliament is called el poder del pueblo. They just really like I seem to think that the Cubans and Venezuelans call a lot of things the poderes. Anyway, go on, Olena.
Equality and non-discrimination are fundamental, key principles of human rights, and the Venezuelan judicial power or judiciary.
I think you should say the judiciary. Yeah.
Judiciary has ensured and protected the full enjoyment of the rights of historically excluded and vulnerable citizens.
Okay.
Peoples.
Yep. What's a very good shortcut for this word here, fundamentales? I mean, you can say fundamental principles. What's a word with one syllable that can just, instead of core, I say core. Yeah. Okay. I'll often hear when I say fundamental, core human rights principles. Okay, garantista. This is a word that comes up a lot in certainly Latin American legal jargon, and Spanish as well, maybe. Does anyone know? Garantista. It's rights-based. Okay, human rights-based, rights-based. So you have to sort of, here you'd actually, to get that notion, you'd have to slightly adapt the syntax. You might say, I don't know, the Venezuelan judiciary, I don't know, adopts a right-based approach for the rights-based protectionist approach for the full enjoyment. But yeah, it's something, yeah, it's a good word to know, that garantista, rights-based. Okay, do this next paragraph as well.
May I ask the word vulnerados?
Yep.
How did my colleague interpret it?
What did you say, Olena?
I think I said vulnerable.
Ah,
was
okay.
It, was it
rights?
Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's vulnerable or it's under attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. My tend to
I'm not
say
sure.
violated. The
Violated,
full
yeah.
enjoyment of the rights
Violated.
of his. Yeah. Historic.
No, but it's the citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I think again, if this was going fast, I would probably just say historically marginalized citizens. But when I know they talk about derechos being vulnerados, right?
Yeah, it's
I just say violated. So I think I just say violated generally.
But can you say violated about the citizens? It has.
This is what I'm saying. My inclination here. These two, I think the two words are very similar in meaning. So I think if you just said, historically marginalized, historically excluded.
Yeah.
I don't think again. You don't need to exactly.
Thank you.
The same way. Yeah. Go on, Olena. Do this paragraph as well.
So, according to the Constitution, the judiciary has independence, functional autonomy, autonomy in its decision making. Sorry, hang on. In its autonomia.
You do functional, yeah.
But then it's referring to the autonomia financiera and so on.
So it's all financial autonomy,
functional
financial
autonomy.
Yeah.
With the Supreme Court of Justice as the main governing body.
Governing body, right? That's very good. Órgano rector. I think that is. I would say. I know you also get you'll hear a lot in Spanish. El ente rector, the governing body. I don't know what you hear more of Spanish natives. Ente rector, órgano rector, or is it the same sort of?
I'd say the same.
Okay.
I'd say it's the same too.
I would go for ente.
Okay.
It sounds more natural.
So I seem to think I come across an ente rector a lot generally. So go
on. Developing its jurisdictional activity in 7 chambers.
Good. That's good for, I think, for something with courts, the idea of chambers, right? De salas, yeah.
The full constitutional, criminal, civil, social, political, administrative, and electoral chambers.
Okay, I like how you turned penal into criminal. That's very good. I think criminal is better than penal. I would say I think this is the plenary chamber.
Oh,
I think. Yeah, plenary chamber. Now we're gonna just go down a bit. Now it gets really nasty, this text. Let's have who have we got here? Let's go back to Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, el poder judicial.
The judicial authorities of the BRV have redoubled their efforts to prevent all forms of discrimination and to ensure de jure and de facto equality of men and women.
You know what RBV is, by the way?
The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Yeah. So again, here I would be tempted just to say maybe our judiciary.
Okay.
With the Venezuelan judiciary, whatever. Again, if you're looking to take shortcuts.
Okay. Between men and women, and thus and therefore has.
You don't need to say that. Para ella, that can go. You know.
Has established courts. to carry out audit, trial, and appeals duties in terms of gender violence, gender-based violence.
Okay. I like you say control. I think audit or oversight.
Yeah, I said audit.
Audit's good actually for control. Yeah.
And that was a full stop, I guess, after gender-based violence. Access to specialized gender-based justice covers 100% of the national territory.
Okay. You could just say covers all the national territory. Again, this is one of those things where you might, you have to just think on the fly. Do you have to say 100%? You just say covers
just
all
that
national
later on
territory.
he's going to mention. I would have even liked to say the entire territory, because then he goes on to talk about 3/4, but I mean 75%.
Okay.
Through a circuit of specialized courts.
I think you can talk about the specialized judicial circuits. I know in the UK, I don't know if any legal experts, but we have in Britain, you have circuit judges. So I know in the UK that is a thing. So yeah, I think you could,
covering 3/4 of such cases, and special powers to deal with crimes involving violence against women in criminal municipal courts for 1/4.
Okay, I would say for competency, especially when you're talking about anything with the courts, the judiciary, so jurisdiction, exceptional jurisdiction, perhaps.
Okay, with jurisdiction.
Yeah. In other fields, you talk about competencia, it's all within their competency, their purview, their remit, whatever. Those are good sort of English words.
But,
right. So, but especially about courts, the jurisdiction is a word that's you're going to want to use a lot. Makes you sound more knowledgeable,
Yes.
Delitos, I tend to say offenses. Okay. I know
but when it comes to something like violence, I know it would be offenses, but because then it's violence against women.
In this case, that word is almost redundant in materia de delitos. In cases of violence against. As a general rule, I'll say for delitos, offenses, crímenes, crimes. Same in French as well.
Moreover, there are 120 prosecution offices specialized in dealing with GBV against girls, adolescents, and women.
It's annoying here because you think you've got GBV and it sounds really good, but then you find out, bollocks, it's not just against women, it's against children, against girls and adolescents as well. So if you were to say that, you'd say, in cases of GBV and violence against girls and adolescents. Again, you'd have to think a little on your feet if you could. Let's find one last one to do before we finish. Let me find a really nasty paragraph to finish. Okay. There's a couple of interesting words here. Haley, do you want to finish? Vale mencionar la figura.
Yes, sure. I would like to, by way of example, the mobile court, which allows for judicial advice to be given free of charge to those most in need who cannot travel to the judicial courts, thereby facilitating this access to justice or recourse to justice.
Yeah, mobile courts. I've heard of the using traveling courts as well. I've heard, but I think mobile might work as well. Either or. Yeah, free of charge legal aid. I think in English we talk about legal aid. Free of charge legal aid for the most vulnerable population. A los recintos judiciales, maybe judicial venues. I think we say who are unable to travel to judicial venues, sites. What would we say in English? Venues, perhaps. Thus,
Venue sounds too much like a wedding, no? I think
like a
site
wedding,
is
like or a
better.
match, like a
Site sounds better.
Sites,
no?
yeah.
What about facilities?
Yeah.
Does that sound too?
The
too much
facility
like a
makes me
prison?
think more. Yeah, that. To judicial, like a court or travel.
Or a
I mean,
precinct? No, that's
maybe
only
you could just say who are unable to travel to courts, to tribunals. You could sort of just say that. I think you can get away, yeah, as long as you get the idea of the idea of the place. Yeah. Okay, we're going to, I think we'll stop there. It's 38. Yeah, we'll stop there. Yes. Okay, guys. Hope,
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Joy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sandra. I'm glad you could come. Hope
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roland.
You've learned
Thank
a
you,
little
Roland.
something there. You're welcome, guys.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
cheers.
Merci, merci.
Come again
Thank you
in
so
a
much.
couple of weeks' time. Hopefully, I might do another one. Remember, if you haven't done us already, don't go. Wait. You're not allowed to go yet. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's the only price. That's the only price. Make sure you subscribe. And there's the website as well. I need to just remind you, theinterpretationstation.org. Yeah, I think that's it. And what? My kids say, any dogs? Anyone got a dog?
Yes.
Dogs.
Yes.
Okay, Instagram. My daughter's got an Instagram account for our dog.
For the dog? What's the name of the dog?
What's it called? The site Maggie. Maggie.the.highlander.
How?
Maggie.the.highlander. Like Christopher Lambert, like the film Highlander. Maggie the Highlander. Find her on Instagram. There you go.
She'll get Quinoa to follow her.
Quinoa's gonna follow you. There you go. Quinoa's gonna follow you. What breed is Quinoa?
She's a mutt. I found her in the street.
Quinoa, cool. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure, eh?
Thank you again.
Bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's how Sunday's workshop went. I was giving a little bit more thought to a couple of the phrases that we used. That recinto judicial, I think venue probably is the best option after all. To travel to who are unable to travel to the judicial to the venue of the trial. I think venue is still the best option available. And what was the other one? Yeah, participación protagónica. As Jonathan mentions at one point, starring role, a leading role. You know, I said proactive because you only talk so often about being proactive. Proactive this, proactive, this, that, and the other. Proactive participation, it just sort of fits. It fits nicely, even though perhaps protagónica is more, I guess they're talking about the protagonist, the main player, the starring role. But, so I think you can go with any of those of options. So, okay, guys, if you enjoyed it, please do smash the thumbs up button. Share the video with your friends. Please do subscribe, and again I repeat, please do leave comments. Feel free. It's good for the algorithms, apparently. My techie friends inform me on YouTube. If you comment, Mark Zuckerberg takes notice, like when there's lots of comments, and pushes me up the list of preferences or some such crap. Anyway, nothing more to say than that. Episode 114 of the Interpretation Station stands adjourned.